Hello team and welcome back to my channel. This time we're checking out the i7-2600K. This was at one point Intel's most powerful mainstream CPU. But how does it perform 12 years after its release? Let's find out. As usual, we'll be looking at the specs of the CPU first. With 4 cores and 8 threads, it was a typical i7 from its time. With a base clock of 3.4 GHz and a boost clock of 3.8, it was no slouch at the time. But buying this CPU and not overclocking it could land you 4 to 6 years in jail. Because of this, I overclocked it to 4.2 GHz immediately, and that's how we'll be testing it today. To answer the title, yes, it can still game. And if general computing performance is all you're after, this is the perfect CPU, even today. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to see how it performs in games. And for this, I paired it with a 3080 and tested F122, so let's see how it performs in that one to begin with. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see how well it performed in F122. With 147 FPS on average, it was absolutely still playable. Keep in mind that this game and almost all other games today are run at low settings just to isolate the CPU performance. I did also run Dirt Rally 2, but it had almost the exact same results. So if you're into racing games, this CPU is actually still okay for that kind of thing. Next up is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2.0 2022, that's the newest one. This game felt fine performance-wise actually. It did feel a little bit slower and it's kind of hard to explain it, but it just felt like a bit off. But overall performance was still good and playable even if it looked like an oil painting at sometimes. Rocket League is a game that runs well on pretty much anything, and this wasn't that different to be honest. With 347 FPS on average, it still ran super well even at super high refresh rates. Even with the FPS, I still suck at the game, so if you have any tips and tricks, feel free to share them with me, or I'll have to figure out a different excuse for next time. I also ran Rainbow Six Siege just to make sure it can perform well in different titles, and with 218 FPS, it was a breeze. So if you're looking for a good CPU for a decent price, I would actually look elsewhere. I cannot recommend that anyone goes out and buys this CPU today. The motherboards are old and don't come cheap enough for it to be worth it. Also, the CPU by itself isn't even that cheap. You can still look out for good deals because people are parting out their old PCs after upgrading, so you can still find some good deals on a CPU, motherboard and RAM combo, but you would have to spend some time and actually stay on top of the used market to find those deals. With all that said, let's give a big round of applause to Ronald who tested all the games for this video. And thanks to you for watching, and as always, look out for my next video in Q5 2025. See you later.